In the Americas before Columbus, fishing is not an industry. They don't need it. Fish are for the taking. Their rivers are not used for power and are not affected by farming. Native Americans transport their fish far away from the coasts and waterways. Into the interior, high up into the mountains. The Inca, high in the Andes, enjoy fish from the Pacific. The Mississippians trade with communities as far away as the Great Lakes to the north and the Gulf Coast to the south. They even eat fish and seafood from the Atlantic. Here, too, there is space for abundance. The waters teem with fish and with whales, dolphins, and manatees. Wherever Native Americans trawl their nets, they find a bounty of thousands of different species: menhaden, channel catfish, and sheephead. They never have to take more than nature can replace. North and South America appear to be a primitive, untamed paradise. But looks can be deceiving. The greatest numbers of freshwater fish live in the Amazon, the largest river in the Americas, and the most voluminous in the world. To our eyes, the Amazon rainforest is an almost untouched Garden of Eden. But it was once a very different place than what we know today. When the jungle was cleared in the 20th century for agricultural purposes, people found the remains of a sophisticated civilization that once managed this landscape. In 1491, this area is home to thousands of people. They tend orchards with all kinds of fruits: papaya, mango, cocoa, nuts, and palms. They speak many different languages and live in many different social systems. Their tightly packed settlements cover an area of over 46,000 square miles. They are linked by raised causeways, bridges, and canals. Much of this is natural savanna created by annual flooding. But they have expanded the grasslands, regularly setting huge areas on fire. By 1491, they have created an ecosystem of plant species adapted by fire that cannot exist in nature. Eventually, the jungle will reclaim it. Further north, in what is now New Mexico, another grand civilization has already come and gone. It flourished in a place that today looks like no humans could ever have lived there. the Chaco Canyon. There is almost no vegetation, no water, and no animals to be seen. And it was already like this in 1491. But once, this area looked completely different. This is the story of a civilization that developed as far as it could, used its resources as well as it could, and still declined. Chaco Canyon was once covered with lush vegetation and forests of pine and juniper. The fertile area was home to the Anasazi. From the year 700 on, the Anasazi built the highest and largest buildings in North America. One is several stories high and has 600 rooms that overlook the majestic canyon. 1,000 people lived here. They had no animals to transport materials. Thousands of felled trees were dragged down to the Chaco Canyon on men's bare backs. There is no written account of their lives or of their disappearance. But environmental historians can tell us what happened by counting tree rings and analyzing rat nests. Nathan English of the University of Arizona spends much time in the canyon looking for traces of the ancient nests.
Our interest in Chaco Canyon is to learn more about how the ancestral Puebloans live, and there's a number of ways we can do that. We can do that through traditional archaeology, where we dig up ruins and sites, or we can also look at what the environment was like around the ancestral Puebloans. And the way we do that is by looking at pack rat middens. And each pack rat midden is like a little snapshot in time of the area around the midden itself. So you could think of it like a picture. And the middens can be up to 40,000 years old in some places. And what the midden is it's the pack rat makes a nest, and it poops in that nest, and then it only gets its water from eating plant vegetation, so its urine is very thick and viscous. That urine seeps into the pile of poop essentially and solidifies, almost like amber. In the meantime, the pack rat is also collecting things for the plants around it, also pot shards, sometimes even corn or seeds of squash. And those macrofossils are incorporated into the midden. So we go out, we collect the midden, and then we examine the macrofossils in that midden to look at what the ecology around that midden was like at that time.
Not only do rat middens hold information, trees do too. Scientists count the rings of ancient logs to give the exact date when the very last tree was cut down. The Anasazi used juniper and pine for their timber and fire. Too much of it, some think. With the trees goes the soil. The forest cannot recover. Because of erosion, water drains down, creating gullies on the way. Irrigation and agriculture are no longer possible. This large population cannot feed itself anymore. But did they destroy the forests, or did the forests leave them?
We are on the edge of this pinyon juniper woodland, and so it's really possible that just natural climate change would have caused it to move back. But it's also, we know that the people were harvesting wood for fuel and for timber, and so it's likely that a combination of the two things are what led to the loss of forest in this area.
The year 1130 rolls around. It is one of the driest of years. The Anasazi have survived previous droughts, but the population has increased greatly, and there is no suitable territory to expand into. Without rain, it's impossible to grow enough food to support the population. No agriculture means no culture. The Chaco Canyon is abandoned. These ancient Americans cut down the last tree and move on. Over in Europe in 1491, they are cutting down the forests rapidly. Their growing population needs more food and more space in which to grow it. And they badly need the wood. They have the tools. They have the means to transport it. And they have the energy. But they're beginning to run out of space and time. Only wood can help them to move forward.
The Middle Ages were the era of wood. You find it wherever you look. Wood was the most important material for building, for making tools and furniture, and for burning. It was the only fuel. There was hardly any coal.
It is an era of competition, and wars use up forests too. Whole armies are equipped with bows made from yew wood. The yew tree is almost exterminated in Europe. Armies need iron weapons, and smelting ovens burn day and night. At the same time, whole forests are used to satisfy another European